What's going on? My phone is.
I don't know what's going on here.
My TV's doing something funky here. Let me see.
Oh my goodness!
What's that?
Who's joining us?
Hey guys, thought I might crash your little watch party. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm looking at I don't know if you're synced up with me, but I'm looking at you and Ma Kent at the what are you gonna do? What's your plan?
Oh, nice. In the cemetery?
Yeah, are you gonna like maybe get a job at a newspaper?
Oh, something like that. Somewhere I can keep my ear to the ground.
Something like that. That's right. Oh yeah, and then this the baby Clark and his baby Clark and his dog. That was me running around the yard with the trying to get that dog not to bite me on the ankles when I was running. He was biting me a little bit. He's biting the kid, which was pretty funny. Really? Just, I mean, not hard, but just enough where he was
like hurting. Yeah.
Not like no blood was shed, but it was enough to like. He kept going like, "Can someone tell this dog I'm trying to do my thing here?" And the dog keeps attacking me. And I was like, "Oh, it's cool. It looks great."
Right.
But yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, well, it's good to say. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I thought I might show you guys where I've been hanging my cape for the past few months. I'm good. I'm just working through isolation really, and using things like this to entertain myself.
Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, sorry. I was like one of my favorite shots of the tie. Remember, we had to put a wire. So we had Henry on like some sort of rig, and then we put a wire in his tie so it could stay flapping because I really wanted to get that flapping tie shot. I couldn't remember you going like, "Geez, okay, fine." Yeah,
you kept on coming back and be like, no, how about now? How about now if we just tilt it just a little bit? And I was like, really? How is it not flapping anyway? But yeah, it's that was we were on a bike for some of those shots, but then we were on a special rig for others where I wasn't even biking, right?
Then you were just really on the bike for some of them, and we had that we had this really kind of hilarious like fixie, those kind of hipster fixie bicycles, and we thought it would be really easy. And like it was like I guess it was set like in like 8th gear, so like Henry would be like, "Could you guys give me a bike that's easy to ride for God's sake?"
Yeah, there was some hills, those up to big bridges, and I was like, "Really? Can I get a real bike? Does Clark have to be this cool?"
Oh, the glasses here.
Oh yeah, the glasses. This is the first glasses look. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we went through quite a few glasses.
Well, look at what does that mean? Welcome to the Man of Steel. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. That's a good movie. That was fun.
It was actually a lot of fun to watch that again. It's been a while, and I do really like that movie.
Yeah, I love it.
A lot of fun memories.
What was your favorite scene to shoot, Henry?
Favorite scene to shoot.
Sounds like a reporter.
Yeah. My favorite scene to shoot. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say to shoot because I have fond memories of shooting all the scenes. That was a massive part of my life and a big fulcrum point. But I think what I loved watching the most was that really cool moment where Soups gets up after being floored by the world engine and just slowly standing up through the gravity beam and then just nails it. That turned out really, really cool. But there are so many cool scenes in the movie. It's tough to pick just one.
Yeah, that's an amazing. I agree. That's an amazing scene. I really love it. So
yeah. How about yours, Debbie? Zach, what was your favorite scene to shoot?
My favorite scene to shoot, I think, although it was also the hardest, was the Smallville battle. I think that was the most exciting to see all that stuff happen. But I also remember it was like 100 and like some odd degree. It was really hot. And it was hot for me, but you guys were all in those suits. And I remember the cooling systems that we had to stick in because, it was dangerous. At one point, we had to keep you guys cool. But it was just exciting to see that come to life and to be in the town.
I think it was literally 100 degrees and you guys were in basically wetsuits. I remember one time Henry would go had his suit and he pulled the sleeve of his suit and sweat
just
AKA
gushing out.
A garden hose of sweat poured out, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's That
It
is crazy.
was very, very hot. I remember everyone trying to usher me into air-conditioned rooms in between setups and takes, and I was like, guys, I've got to stay one temperature. If you keep on getting me cool, it's going to be miserable for me every time I go back into the heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm just
have
gonna stay
like
here.
pneumonia next time I walk out there. Yeah. No, that's cool. It was like it was a version of like, you know, you were like Swedish. You know how if you go from a sauna to the snow, but it was in reverse.
In reverse. Yeah, that was a fun sequence actually. How long did that sequence take? That was a while.
The Smallville sequence, I think, was a week. We shot for a week of just fighting. Yeah, it was intense.
By the way,
maybe it might have been more.
And the town was so great too, because they had to shut down.
Yeah, they let us pretty much
Plano.
Yeah, destroy that town. That was good.
No, and then I think they were happy because afterwards, I think a lot of people came to the town because they wanted to see.
I think for a while there was a museum, like a museum. I mean, it's cool. It's called that, but I don't know.
A thing. Yeah, a building. A room.
It was great.
It had artifacts in it, really important artifacts.
They were so friendly, and I remember the police department and fire department. They were so helpful.
Oh yeah, I had my Plano Police Department T-shirt. I used to wear all the time.
I remember driving to work every day. Well, I didn't drive, but being driven to work every day, and there were kryptonite cookie signs and stuff at all the farms, and that was a nice touch. It made us all feel really at home there. So
yeah,
thank you, Plano.
It was beautiful. By the way, it was beautiful. Do you remember the cicadas when we shot at the farm? They were so loud. I remember we had like it was just so loud, all the sounds. I remember all the production problems. I was the sound got ruined.
I was good. Oh yeah, the sound totally did get ruined.
We had to ADR all of that.
Because there's like cricket out of the bad cicada. Anyway,
I don't know. That was pretty good, Zach.
Thank you. I'm known for my cicada imitation. I sometimes mess to do it at parties all the time. And I'm like, guys, I don't. It's embarrassing. I'm so good at it. I was going to do some Q&A with some fans, but you're here. Do you want to?
Hey, yeah, I'm in.
You want to join in and hear some of these?
I think we have some people that we can have join our Zoom here.
Cool.
I didn't even know what Zoom was before,
Yeah, now everything is Zoom. Now you can't not Zoom.
Yeah, I just thought it was moving quickly.
I Zoom I Zoom with you upstairs to like, hey, I want a sandwich. It's like a Zoom, as opposed to let me just look at my thing.
I think it's just gonna take them a bit to get everyone.
Hang on, everyone's coming up slowly but surely.
Hey everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Guys.
Hey Henry, Zach, Debbie.
Hello.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, Joey.
Good.
Zach, Debbie, Henry, it's great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Awesome. Were you able to watch? Were you watching?
Yes. Definitely was.
Oh yeah.
How was your sync? Did you guys get the sync okay?
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Hello?
Give or take?
Yeah.
Hi,
Give
guys.
or take. Yeah. I was like, what is he talking about?
Well, you know what I mean. Them trying to like have the movie match.
Oh yeah, no. I was there were things you were talking about, and I was like, I'm definitely in the wrong place.
Okay. Well, I did jump around. Sometimes I would see something during the movie, and I'd go, "Hey, that reminds me of something that happens at the end of the movie." And I'm sure if you tuned in at that point, you'd be like, "Wait a minute,
Yeah.
what the hell is he talking about? He's insane. He's lost his mind."
I just got so wrapped up in that hot dog truck.
You see more people?
I don't know. Let me just see. I'm in a grid setting, but I don't know if I see every single person. There's Henry.
There you go. Swipe over. Let's go like
Swipe? Really?
Yeah, just try it.
You're making me nervous.
No, look.
Oh yeah. Okay, good.
Hi guys.
A second
No,
page.
no one fits. We're on the iPad, so not everyone fits on one page on the iPad. So
Yeah, same here.
thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Guys, and also you, Mr. Cavill. I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Hey Henry, what's going on?
Hi Henry, I love you.
Hey, Daniela.
So guys,
I'm so happy.
you guys all have some questions, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
Pay attention to her question.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Oh yeah, so let's see. Who is here? So I'm just looking here. Oh, Joey, go ahead. Ask me your question because I think it's pretty. I mean, I think it's, as far as the movie goes, it's pretty important.
Sure. So it actually fits in because at the beginning you talked about the reference with how Doomsday broke that moon overlooking Krypton, and I hadn't heard a lot of people talk about that. So I was wondering if there were any Easter eggs in any of your DC movies or movies in general that people haven't caught yet, or any that you've wanted to put in but you decided ultimately not to.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess like I think there's probably a couple hundred that are in there. I haven't really done a running tally of, maybe that's a thing, a project of mine. Maybe during my isolation, I'll do an internet scrub of all the Easter eggs and all the ones that have been identified.
Sure, yeah.
But I got to say, I haven't done that yet, and I'm sorry, but I will. But I think, like, I'll say, some of my favorite, I mean, just there in that last sequence,
What's up, Harrison?
Just having, like, the Wayne logo on the satellite and the LexCorp gas truck, it's not really an Easter egg because you can see it, but it also,
right, sure.
It's in retrospect, it's a bigger Easter egg than you probably thought at the time.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I think that's fine. And also, I think, talking about just for instance, the guy with the Martian screensaver on his computer at the base, at the Arctic base, because he was the guy that brought the Martian images from Watchmen to into that Dr. Manhattan sequence where they're looking for Manhattan. But
I got that too. I thought that was great.
That's it. But look, I think partly the reason why we have so many Easter eggs in the movies is because I think we have such a good time, and we pay so much. There's so much detail, and we spend so much time thinking about everything that we inevitably end up with either like super important Easter eggs, like what I would consider, LexCorp, or we end up with super silly ones like the hot dog truck that's driving around.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think what it shows is that there's a lot of caring and a lot of attention to details. But
yeah,
thanks,
and I think, no matter the degree, like it shows that you care about this world that you're building, and I thank you for that. It's really great to see.
Well, thanks. That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. I have another screen, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
That's good. Yeah.
Hang on. If I look like I'm doing this, it's because I'm scrubbing. Let's see. So I have one from
here.
Chris.
I'm here.
Chris, what do you got, sir?
Well, my favorite character in Man of Steel, or one of my favorite characters, is Jonathan Kent. I thought that Kevin Costner was perfect in the role of Jonathan Kent, and what you've already said before about him bringing sensitivity to the role, and being a father myself and listening to his dialogue, which I thought was perfect. Everything he says in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman was wonderful. My question to you was, and I think you've answered it already during the stream, was what is your favorite piece of dialogue or life advice that Jonathan gives to Clark in Man of Steel? And also, hi, Henry, you're my hero.
Oh, thanks, mate.
You're welcome.
It's cool because he actually plays a hero, so it's a great.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Thank goodness for that, otherwise it'd be super awkward.
Oh, and that, I brought some beer because I noticed that you had a bottle of vodka there at the beginning, so I brought a beer.
It's not. I said it was not vodka. I said
Sure,
that. I don't want
that
to be
because
like.
you're saying it, Zach.
And one more thing.
How do we really know?
Happy birthday
No,
to your
exactly.
mum a few days ago, Debbie.
Oh, wait, what? Say that again?
I said happy birthday to your mum a few days ago, Debbie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Debbie's mom.
She might be watching right
yeah,
now.
I think she is watching. She was here in March because she lives on the East Coast, and because of the quarantine, we're like, you're not going back, you're staying here. So it's been nice having her.
Yeah, she basically is, she's in like a weird prison with us. So
Nah, she's enjoying it, spending time with the kids, and she's been cooking. So we've gained, like we say, it's like
it's
the
ridiculous.
quarantine 15 or something.
It's a quarantine 15. That is right. That's what we have at the hospital.
And also, Zach, before you answer the question, I just want to say thank you so much for your movies and connecting me to the most wonderful people in the world. You are a true hero of mine. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough.
That's kind. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I guess, yeah. And look, I feel like I was saying, I feel the same way about Jonathan Kent. I think Kevin's work is like really humanizes him in an amazing way. And actually, I think Kevin has this kind of simple, but really earnest and beautiful way about him. He's also an amazing athlete. I know this is an aside, but we would throw the football or on set, and I like to throw, whatever object is around. And it's just nice, it's always fun. It's like Field of Dreams. I was like, this is awesome. I'm throwing football with Kevin Costner is kind of cool. For me, I guess being just, growing up, it was pretty cool experience. But again, like I said, when I was watching the movie, it's that moment for me when he says, just the way he says, "You are my son,"
Yeah.
It's so, for me, it's just really
melts your heart.
You really feel it,
I always feel like this whole thing, and maybe because, we have adopted children, it is this great story about who is your family. And, because to me, at the end, it's like Clark makes the choice to adopt us as his family, the world, humanity. And I just think it's really beautiful, in that's why this story, is such a personal, I think, story for me.
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorite scenes as well is at the very end, and he's and Henry is overlooking his dad's, Superman's dad's grave, and Martha says, "He saw it, Clark, believe me." And then it cuts to a scene where Jonathan Kent's watching him with the red sort of cape on his back, and the typical Superman, the Superman stance. It was just magical, truly magical. And I always look at it and think, did my dad look at me like that when I was little? And now I look at my children, what are they going to be when they grow up? And it's truly amazing. Every time I watch it, it always gets me in there, right here.
It's a story for
That's
generations.
awesome.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good, because that was, when you make a movie and you have a moment like this, and you have this idea, for some moment where that might be a thing, and you, the first time you sort of talk about it, or you make a note, or you do a doodle, and because hopefully as a filmmaker, or an actor, or hopefully an audience at the same, in our relationship that we all have with each other, you feel it that first time, and when you feel it that first time, you have to go through a process to make it real, right? And I think that that process of realizing it, and then getting actors, and then filming it, and all that stuff, it gets a little away from you every time. Not away, but it gets a little harder to get that feeling, and I think that it's an awesome thing when you get it, and you see it on screen, and maybe the first time you see it, and you're like, that was it, that's it, I felt it, it happened. And then when you talk to someone who's never seen it, or had an experience with it at all, or had it, had to go through this ladder of events to get it onto a screen in front of them, and they feel it, it's a really cool thing, because you're like, wow, okay, like it worked. you know, like the process worked. It didn't fail me, which, you know,
Definitely did.
I'm not saying that it doesn't, that it did every time, but it's pretty cool.
All right, who else?
Who else? Sylvia, is that how I say your name?
Yes,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. First,
Hey,
Henry,
Sylvia.
you were amazing in The Witcher. And get all the big parts, please. And you kind of answered my question already. Did you have a plan for Supergirl in the DC Extended Universe when you made Man of Steel? There is a Man of Steel prequel comic featuring Kara. Was there ever a plan to continue the story later, introducing her in a Superman solo like you did with Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman, and then give her a solo? Because the theme of family is so strong in the DCU that I think it would be nice to see that meeting between Henry, Superman, and her not end up alone, like he did.
Yeah, I mean, that it's an awesome question. And by the way, you know, it's a super powerful character, and, you know, and I would say like an amazingly iconic character. And we really wanted to keep, as we went forward, it was always, you know, my intention to broaden the universe and to continue to, like, you know, start to bring in more and more of the family, if you will. And I think that she certainly falls into that category. And certainly the idea of a standalone super cool movie is it's a cool idea. I don't have a script or anything in mind, but it would be amazing to see for all of us, I think.
Thank you. I love you all.
That's cool. Let's see. Who else? You think?
How about the Kryptonian chef, Jacob?
Did we talk to Jacob? Jacob.
Hi, Mr. Snyder and Mrs.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
Good.
Okay, and Dad,
The tag in the house.
okay, and that's about that suit that came from the Kryptonian ship. How did that, who or whoever designed the suit, that Kryptonian suit, to be blue? And why did one of the family members of the L family chose to be blue, red, and yellow? I mean, what does the color represent?
Sure. I mean, I talked about it a little bit when we were watching the movie, but I think that, like, you know, there's a lot of ways to think about the suits. We had massive conversations when we were making the movie about, like, what the suits were. Were they, you know, because you can see that, like, what we try to do is the basic suit, like what the sort of, we call it the skin suit that Clark is wearing and that Jor-El is wearing and Zod is wearing. That's kind of that is the practical, like, everyday wear of a Kryptonian out in the world, right? Like, you see them, everything that they're doing, they have this sort of this skin suit on underneath their, whether it be armor, whether it even be like they're in like those like mech suits that they're walking around that planet on. They always underneath, they have this kind of consistent, you know, that skin suit. And then I feel like we always talked about the cape being sort of a formalized version of that. So, like, in the dream sequence with Zod, you see he's wearing a cape in that sequence, right? But in the other sequences, he's not, right? So it's like there's like a formalized version of the skin suit that has a cape. And so my way of thinking about it was two ways. You can either think that the House of L, which is a long-standing house of noble stature on Krypton, that their ancestors were explorers, and it was literally part of that family that was exploring the universe, which I'm fine with. But also, I think you can think about it in terms of, because Jor-El's AI is in the ship, that he can these skin suits are controlled by the ship and manufactured or created in the creches, and so they would have represent different different guilds and different presentations. And I think that the red and blue, like I was saying, is a diplomatic presentation color for the Kryptonians, and would allow this notion of diplomacy. And sort of, if you listen to what Jor-El is saying during that sequence in his explanation of what you're going to mean to the people of Earth, you can imagine that would be, you know, what he would hope for the outward image of Superman to the world would be, you know. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Henry, what was it like for you when you put on the suit after it was made for the first time? What was that moment like for you?
Difficult to forget, I'll say that much. It was a bit of I remember putting it on for the screen test, and I think, Zach, you sent me a picture of, it was the Polaroid, the literal Polaroid of someone, you taking a picture of me or someone taking a picture of me. And that moment when I stepped outside for the first time, and it all been so hush hush, everything had been kept under wraps, and you know, everyone was you know, walking around behind closed doors. And then I stepped outside and everyone kind of turned and looked, and you had that moment where I didn't feel ridiculous. It felt empowering. It was a remarkable experience. It was something which I will never forget, because if you told me as a kid that, oh, one day someone's going to put you in a skin tight blue outfit and you're going to stand in front of a whole bunch of people and they're going to take pictures, I would probably dread that day. But because there happened to be an S shield on the chest, and there's something which lives in our psyche down to pop culture and what Superman represents, that carried an extra magic in that moment and made it something really, really special for me.
And what was interesting, because when we were doing the test, we didn't have time. We were still developing the suit. So we asked them, and we got Christopher Reeve's suit out of archives. And I remember it came and they had white gloves and they pulled it out, and we were like, oh my God. And that's what we used for the screen test until we were able to develop. And also, you know, it takes months to get it, and it had to be, you know, specific to Henry's proportions and
our suits for the movie.
Yeah, it was quite a process.
Well, it's funny too, because I tell that story too about you coming out in the Christopher Reeve suit, which by the way is not, let's be frank, that suit has the underwear on the outside. If I laid it on the table in front of you, it is not heroic looking. It is made out of polyester or something, and it's not even like ours. Like the modern suits have some shape, right? Yep. If it's laying on the ground, you're like, oh, the guy who wears that, you know, looks like a big dude. But the Christopher Reeve suit is literally like, if you took off a stocking and you laid it on the table, it's kind of what it looks like. It's not, you know, it's kind of this flimsy thing. But, you know, and when Henry came out of the trailer in that suit, and all of our, you know, we had a small crew to shoot the test shot, and those gruff dudes like turned around and looked at him. I was like, oh, geez, what's it going to be?
It's going to get
ugly.
ugly.
They were like, badass. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Really? They were like, got that look at Superman. That's badass, bro. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's okay. That's good. Woof. You run the gauntlet on that one, but it was cool. Yeah, but and then by the way, he looked at me like you do, exactly as Henry said. You look at that outfit and you go like, oh, that's like, I think it's in, you know, we're all programmed to see Superman, just like even you guys with your S's on, you look like, you know, you look strong.
Yeah, it's a powerful image, Superman, and it stands for a lot more than just a blue suit.
Yeah, it does indeed. What do you think?
Zach, I've got a question for you, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Jor-El's AI consciousness construct, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
How complete is that? How advanced is the Kryptonian technology in the sense that is that consciousness capable of love?
I don't think so. In my mind, it was like he kind of had to load what he believed to be what a grown-up version of himself would need. I mean, I think it's super complex, but I don't know that it is a complete person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and the reason why I say that is because I don't want, I think it undercuts a little bit of Jor-El's sacrifice if he
he's still like,
snuck
still
his
good.
consciousness into a thumb drive and tucked it onto the ship and said like,
probably should have done that for my
sorry,
wife.
Laura.
Damn
Sorry,
it.
Laura. I'm out of here. You know, but I do believe as like, I think about it like he, like a diary that he wrote to his son, right? Like a love letter, like a love letter to his son.
Okay.
So that when he got there to Earth or whatever, and finally came full circle, that he would be able to like, it's like, you know, you're in the attic of your house and you find this letter your father wrote you to my adult son, read when you're, you know, 40, and you open it and you read it and you're like, oh my God, that's kind of how I imagine the Jor-El AI.
Okay. So it carries the message of love, but itself is not capable of love.
I think so. So.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No, no sweat. I think that's cool. It's a great question, and it's a thing we grappled with because, you know, it does, you know, you want him to still be have given something up to get you out, you know,
right?
Which I think is super important.
Yeah,
because there is a theme of sacrifice throughout the movie, you know, and
yes,
and I think that theme is, you know, it's like everyone Clark comes in contact with, the lesson that they give is that for a greater good, you know, we go. You know?
Right.
Hey, Zach, mind if I jump in for a second?
What do you got?
I just wanted to tell you and Debbie, a lot of people love you and care about you. And we thank you for all the work that you've done in your films. And Henry, you're great. We hope to see you again soon, hopefully. But we'll see.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's amazing.
Thanks,
I like your, I see you got a Superman right over your shoulder there.
Yeah. Yes. Behind you.
I had to search for
look out.
multiple Walmarts. It's about 36 inches tall. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he's like, I was going to say, either he's super far away and he's life size, or he's right there.
It's a universal things of every, you know, superhero should be.
Oh,
like,
yeah, he is big. He is big.
Optimistic and you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I appreciate and I love you people. They are amazing people. And I appreciate you guys are amazing human beings.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Where's Danny? Is Danny there?
Hi.
Hello.
Where are you? I
doing?
think you're
We
on
can
my
hear
other
you.
screen. Hang on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there
Yes.
you are. You're like
I
the most
literally
intense
hear-
close-up.
Yeah. I have problems with the audio.
Oh, where are you?
I come from Chile,
Oh, perfect.
like
I love it.
south, far
Yeah,
south.
south of here. It's slightly south. If I get on the Harbor Freeway and keep going.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I have a question
Yeah.
that is the mother of all our questions as a fandom.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's serious.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God.
I'm scared.
I'm scared of it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
When will you release the Snyder Cut?
There it is. There it is.
Yes. There it is.
Is it
Yes.
us releasing this?
Yeah, when will I release it?
Don't cut the stream this time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Suspense.
Look, you know, the truth is, you know, I'm not 100%, you know, me personally, I'm not really, and I've said it before, I'm not really in control of it necessarily, right? Like, I mean, I've said it exists, and I've been very clear with my, like, what I did with it, you know, and but that, you know, it's not really up to me per se. If it was up to me, I would have probably already like left it on a thumb drive in a bathroom somewhere. And
yeah, because, you know, people like picking up thumb drives in bathrooms and putting it
well,
down.
not anymore. Not anymore. In the
Typical
current
scenario.
there.
What else do you do with your Saturday night?
Yeah, things not to
Someone would be
do.
putting
101.
Pharrell all over
Yeah.
it.
Is there a true story there somewhere?
About the thumb drive in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, whoever's listening, do not pick up any thumb drives you find in bathrooms.
Yeah, this is not.
Well, try it out.
That is
You
not
know,
a
I'm
situation.
not suggesting this as you go forward. This is not. Yeah, everyone's like going, okay, go to the look. Let's go see what's in the bathroom.
There's going to be a news story about that. Tons of people going to bathrooms.
Yeah, looking for thumb drives.
Looking for thumb drives.
And also, I promise you, I did not put that. Don't pick the one that's in there up, because that's not mine. So whatever's on that one is not something you want to see, probably.
Oh,
But yeah, so like, look, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Henry? It's a hard question.
I don't know. For me, having just watched Man of Steel, this for me was such a big moment, because I remember when that first trailer dropped, which I hadn't been privy to beforehand, and I just saw it with everyone else. And I remember exactly what I was going through in my life at the time. I remember where I was, remember who I watched it with, and then I watched it about 1,500 times after that. And that whole experience of shooting the movie was a life changer for me. The whole experience of the press tour, watching the movie, it was definitely a fulcrum point, which changed my life from what it was then to what people perceive now as, you know, being famous or whatever it is. And that was a massive shift for me. And I remember so much of it in very, very exacting detail, and with all of the emotions in touch. I mean, I was going through a lot at the time as well, sort of aside from the work stuff. But it was for me a massive, massive journey, and I loved watching it. I still love watching that movie, and I will remember those days until the very end for me. It's been a long journey since. I do think it would be fun to perhaps have, you know, worked with a trilogy or a trilogy a bit differently. And I mean, I would love to see a version of Justice League without the mustache. And
would you be okay if you had, like, I don't know, like the
innovative
version of, you know, like from the Reign of Superman, where, you know, he rises up and has, you know, little long hair and also a full beard? Would you be okay?
Oh, so you're saying, like, you're asking for the mullet and the beard?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Mullet,
Well,
little
listen, there's some hairstyles. There's some hairstyles that just don't age. Awesome. Yeah. And I'm going to put that mullet in the category. I mean, look, for me, one of the things we wanted to do with Justice League was when he came back, he was, you know, iconic in some way. Iconic to the risen Superman, maybe minus the beard and the mullet, but with other aspects of that look that I feel like are super important. But yeah, you know, it was always my intention to, like, not, you know, I'd love to see that version of Superman without the mustache, or at least without the whatever that implication
Yeah, without the mustache. It's the important thing.
Yeah, but I think seriously, like to see, I mean, we were on this journey, and all these characters, I mean, it was this hero's journey for all these characters, and I think it's a shame that we never saw it come to fruition the way, the way Zack intended it to be, to see them reach their journey to become, the Justice League, the team that it would have been.
Listen, and look, like I told you, I have it. So it's just a question of like, we got to find a way to show it someday.
Yes.
I reckon you should show it.
What's that?
I reckon you should show it.
What, you think I should just show it?
Yeah, I think we should show.
I reckon
Well,
it too.
No disagreement here.
I think that, I mean, I don't have I can't show the movie right now, because it's still a little bit to do. But I mean, there is this. I have this. I don't know if this is helpful. See that?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my
Wow.
God. Oh my God.
Is this
Sorry for
stereo?
Very nice.
Get the hell out of here. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So that's coming.
There's a little thing there,
It's a little thing. It's
a
not to
little
be too, what do you call it?
Don't get too hyped up about it.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, the good news is
chill out.
there's one little piece of bad news, and that is that it'll probably be in 21, the actual release, because we got a little work to do.
Forever
But
21.
we're doing it. So
Forever 21.
Woo!
get ready.
Wow.
We have prep
Nice
time.
job, Danny. Nice
Ready
job,
to
Danny.
get mentally prepared.
Well, all right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so
Thanks
much.
for having us, Zach.
Henry.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone. And thanks,
Thank
Zach.
you,
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Love you, Henry. Dig in the mustache, buddy.
All right.
I just woke up like this today. I don't know why. This is what
Oh,
happened.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right.
All right.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice job.
Flag.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Love
Thank you
you
very
guys.
much.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, take care.
Well, y'all have a good
Cheers.
day.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh my God.
That
Real
is
can't believe it.
unbelievable. What does DJ say?
Okay, so that went well.
Yeah.
Are we still on live?